Hey, what's going on, guys? See if I'm in here, see if anyone hops on live. Just double check. Got my cousin Chris over here.
Taking some notes. It's going to be a good one.
He's got his notepad ready. This is cool. I'm excited to be in here. I saw Ashley created this group just for all you guys that are diamond right now, pushing for 15 star. She asked me to hop in here and just to talk a little bit about leadership. So I titled this call, How to Help Your Coaches Think Differently, how to teach your coaches how to think. Because I think that's, if you look at a lot of the leaders on Team Boom or in Beachbody, including Ashley, one thing she's gotten really, really good at is teaching her coaches how to think differently. So the other thing I saw that was kind of funny is I saw that Ashley had a Google Doc in her group. Hey, what's up, Ash? That had like little 20-minute time slots for you guys to sign up and chat with her. So I hope you guys are taking advantage of that because Ashley's time is valuable. And if I was allowed to sign up for one of those 20-minute slots, I would because she's one of the best at helping coaches think differently. So that's the funny thing is like that's what I remember doing back in 2015. I created these Google Doc just like that. And so this is kind of what I want to talk about today is you guys not only just signing up for calls with Ashley, but doing this with your team because this is what's going to take your team to a whole other level. So I did this back in 2015. I created a Google Doc and I created little time slots, 20-minute time slots. And I reached out to the coaches that I had thought were doing really well. I asked them to sign up for a spot, and then I asked them who they were excited about that they were working with. So I reached out to those people, and then I asked their coaches to sign up for a time slot too. So this is something that you guys can do with your coaches and your coaches' coaches and your coaches' coaches' coaches. If you get on a 20-minute call with your coach's coach's coach, and you talk about the things I'm going to talk to you guys about on this call, it's going to get that coach that's in your third level really excited, which is going to make the coach in your second level more excited, which is going to make your PS coach more excited. The coaches that are that 2, 3, 4 levels down, you work with them, you talk to them, it just has a ripple effect all the way up through the business of excitement and confidence and belief. So I'm really excited that I saw that Ashley's doing that with you guys, and hopefully you guys take that and create a little Google Doc for yourself to do with your coaches and your coaches' coaches, because that's what's going to blow up your team to a whole other level. So 3 questions that I always ask on these 20-minute calls. So I think it's really important to know what you're going to touch on when you get into these 20-minute calls. And it's not just going to be you talking. It's going to be you asking questions. Great leaders ask great questions. And these 3 questions are questions I've asked on almost every call I've ever done, every one-on-one call, because it teaches coaches how to think differently. So the first question I always ask is, I think you have to start with, what is your why? If they don't have a why, then they don't have any fuel to start to change their thinking, to start to change their belief, to start to change their habits. So asking them, what is your why, and really figuring out what that is for them is huge. Hopefully part of their why, and if it's not, you can help them with this. You can ask them if part of their why is that they're doing their workouts, they're drinking their shake, they're eating right, they're reading good books, because that's just what makes them feel like a better version of themselves. Hopefully that's a big reason this is a big part of their why, is that they're doing those things because when they're doing those things, they just have more energy, they have more excitement, they have a bigger impact in the world. So hopefully that's something that they've thought about, and they use that as part of their fuel, as part of their why fuel. Then also some of the other things I asked them about is like, I did this with Michelle when I talked to her a few months back, and she was kind of feeling a little stagnant. This is a great call to do with not just new and up and coming coaches. This is a great call to do with coaches that have kind of feel a little stale. So I did this with Michelle. And I asked her like what kind of pissed her off about her current situation. Sometimes it's like, sometimes part of your why is going to be something that you're moving towards. It's some small goals you have of being able to pay off credit card debt, or being able to spend more time with friends and family, being able to take trips, being able to have freedom. But sometimes you got to think about the feeling of being stuck. So for me, it's like, I want to know what fires them up, what might piss them off. For me, I was pissed off that I had to ask my boss for permission to do stuff. So this is all part of that first question. What's your why? So you're digging deep on, okay, what's something that pisses you off about your current situation that you want to be able to change? And so there were certain things that pissed me off that I wanted to be able to get out of. I felt stuck in certain situations. So that was something that I was always fueled by, and I'm always trying to bring to the forefront of coaches' minds. You guys on this call, like, you guys think about your why all the time. It's fueling you guys every day. Your coaches, a lot of them are only thinking about their why when someone asks them what it is, and then they say something that sounds kind of cool, but it's not an emotionally charged why. So when you do these 20-minute calls, you get on these calls with them and you create an emotionally charged why that gets them fired up, that gets them, again, thinking differently. They're starting to think about their why. It becomes part of their thought process almost every day, and it creates that energy for them to show up to their business. So one of the things I'm always working on with coaches is that. What is your why? How do we strengthen that why? How do we create more energy from that why? How do we create more fuel with this why? How do we create something that you're going to look at your why and see your why, and it's going to be on your mind all the time? Because once a coach has that emotionally charged why on their mind all the time, their energy changes, their thoughts change, their actions change, their results change. So if they're not dreaming big enough because they're afraid to set themselves up for failure or something, you got to help them with that. You got to help them dig out what that big why is for them, and tell them, like, hey, like, if you set this big why and you fall short of, like, hey, you want to hit this X amount of money, you want to make $500 a week by this date, and you fall short of $500 by that date, you're going to be so much farther ahead by that date than if you had never set that goal at all. You might be at making $200, $300, $400 a week when you get to that date. You didn't hit $500 by that date, but if you had never set that goal, you would still be making less than $100 a week. So you got to let them know that goals are meant to fall short sometimes, because it pushes you. You got to set goals that are going to push you, and you might fall short, but it's going to push you to be a lot farther ahead than if you had never set that goal at all. So again, that's the first question, is what's your why? Helping them dream big, helping them figure out and dig, like, what's pissing them off right now. If their why is they want to hit a certain rank, I always question that, and I say, okay, great, like, I love that you want to hit that rank and that's a thing, but like, what's the reason behind that? So I'm a big financial guy. For me, it's like, income is, to me, the vehicle that affords me the choices and the freedom to live my life the way I want to live it. So if they want a certain rank, I say that's awesome. Okay, like, and then what about the financial side behind that? What kind of income do you need to be making to be able to retire from your job, to be able to retire your husband from his job? Because a lot of times that's what their why is. So then I go, okay, what is the exact dollar amount that you need to hit to be able to do that? And then we start to kind of talk about how they can go about doing that. So that's the first question. What is your why? Helping them dig deep on that. I think that's something that we don't spend a lot of time on. We say, hey, like, you got to know your why. But I think a lot of times people just don't have creativity, and they need someone to help them be creative and create that strong why, that fuel for them. So that's number one. Number two is, okay, great. Once you've, like, really gotten concrete on, like, a set dollar amount that they want to hit, and they know kind of when they want to hit it by, and you've kind of set that up, then it's like, okay, great. Do you know what has to happen for you to hit that goal? So that's the second question. Okay, great. Do you know what has to happen for you to hit that goal? So what I've kind of found is, to make like $500 a week, which a lot of people, that's kind of their first goal, is you need to have usually like two really great leaders, two good leaders on each leg, one or two great leaders on each leg. So that's something I'm talking to them about, is like, okay, you want to make $500 a week. Okay, like, how are you going to get there? It's going to come down to finding like one or two great leaders on each leg. And I tell them they don't have to be personally sponsored. And one of the things I do with them is, when I'm doing these one-on-one calls on a Zoom call, is I'll have them share their screen. I'll have them go into their graphical genealogy, and I'll have them click down their leg. To if they have a strong leg, I'll have them click down their leg, and I'll have them talk to me about some of the coaches that they're excited about in that leg. And a lot of times, they've never even seen their graphical genealogy. And there's coaches in their strong leg that they know who they are. They've seen them in their groups and they've seen them posting and messaging and talking, but they had no clue that that person was in their downline and that person had the potential to be one of their 2 leaders in that leg that was going to get them that $500 a week. So I think that second question of, do you know how you're going to get there? Showing them it's going to come down to finding 1 or 2 leaders, and they don't have to be personally sponsored. And then actually having them click through is huge, because all of a sudden there's actual names and people that they already kind of know are showing up in their downline as the potential 1 or 2 rock star leaders they need in each leg to kind of get to that, that first goal of 500 a week or whatever it is. So that's something that I'm talking to them about. How are you going to get there? And then showing them, hey, you don't need to be you don't have to sign 1 million coaches to be able to hit that. You need to just find those 1 or 2 great ones and work with them and develop them. So that's something that I think really gets them fired up when they get off the call and they see that there's already something happening in their downline, and they're not working towards something they're not starting from nothing. There's already kind of something there that they're trying to develop and work towards that's already started. So that's that second one. How are you going to get there? And kind of helping them find clarity, helping them start to think a little bit differently about, hey, there's coaches in my downline that do have the potential. Obviously, they need to be doing their daily behaviors and their BAT and doing all that, but making sure they're paying attention and getting excited about the coaches that are right under their noses already. So, third and final question is, okay, great. We are super clear and strong on what your why is. We know exactly what needs to kind of happen, that the escalator mindset, staying consistent, obviously working with the coaches that are already under you. Okay, great. What is the biggest doubt or the biggest obstacle in your life, or the biggest self-limiting belief right now that's keeping you from believing that is just inevitably going to happen? This is the big one. This is the one that you really got to work with them on, because if you can get them a really strong, clear, energy charged why, and then you can strengthen their belief by giving them clarity and helping them pull out the self-limiting beliefs. Now they have this super strong why that's getting them really excited, and their belief has gone through the roof. Now those 2 things together, you're not going to have to chase them around to stay consistent. They will be consistent. If somebody in your downline is not staying consistent, is falling off, their energy's in and out, one of those 2 things is off. Their why isn't strong enough, or their belief isn't strong enough. There's something that's missing in those 2 areas. So these 3 questions really help you pinpoint where it's off. And that third one really helps with the belief aspect. Where are we off with the belief? So whenever they come back with whatever their self-limiting belief is, or the obstacle that's in their way, helping them get over that. And as soon as they verbalize it, it loses a lot of its power immediately. And then you can start to work through that with them. And maybe, even recommend a YouTube video for them to listen to about that specific self-limiting belief, or whatever their obstacle is, or a book that you think is the best. Or maybe a coach that has had that same self-limiting belief and was able to overcome it. Maybe you connect them with that coach and help them kind of get over whatever is holding them back in their belief. So I'm always like, all right, where is this coach's why on a scale of 1 to 10? And where is this coach's belief on a scale of 1 to 10? If you can elevate their why to like an 8, 9, or 10, and you can elevate their belief to an 8, 9, or 10, you're in business. And if you can do that with a coach that's in your 3rd level, not only is that going to inspire them to just be a train on the tracks that's unstoppable, it's also going to inspire the coach that's in your 2nd and 1st level when they see that happening as well. So last really quick thing that I did this recently. I did this last week with one of the leaders on Team Boom that was struggling with just, people have bad days. So And it's funny because I did this I've seen this in a lot of different personal development books, but this is something I did with my nephews, and it works with kids. It works with myself. It works with, leaders I've worked with. So there's what I call a lower self and a higher self. There's the you that's in like survival mode, that's in fear, that's in doubt. And then there's the you that's in the zone. That's your creativity is through the roof. You're not in the fight or flight, fear, doubt, insecurity. You're in the creative, connected space where it almost like anything that comes at you doesn't even seem like a challenge or an obstacle. Just seems like it's something that you can handle and you're going to rock it. So what I do with my nephews and what I do with my coaches is I have them name those two people. So the person that wakes up and feels like not motivated and feels like they're doubting themselves or they're comparing themselves to other people, that is the lower self. That is the fear, the conditioned thinking that they've picked up as a kid or somewhere along the way. And then there's the higher self that is who they were as a kid before they picked up any of that bullshit. And they didn't give a shit what anyone else thought. And they just did what felt good. And they just wanted to give love and be love and had all this energy to be creative and fun and jump around and swing from the monkey bars. And that's, who we truly naturally are. And that's always still there. One of the best analogies is like that higher self, who you truly are, who your coaches truly are at their core is the sun. And then all that conditioned crap that you picked up along the way, that's the clouds. And no matter how cloudy of a day it seems or how cloudy of a month it seems that your coaches are having, that sun, that confident, creative, bright person is still there no matter how many clouds are in the sky. It's always still there. So then I try to get them to give those two, their higher self and their lower self, two different names. What is your lower self's name? Like that person that just doesn't feel motivated, that feels like they're doubting themselves, that feels like it's just not working for them, that feels like nobody's interested in working with them. What is that person's name? A first name. And then the higher self, the person that loves helping people, that has that we've all felt it. We know what it feels like when we're in the zone. What is that person's name? That makes you so much more conscious when you're in your lower self. When the lower self thoughts start to creep in, it's going to help your coaches be more aware and conscious of that. And so they can be like, oh, here's that, whatever the name is, here's Debbie Downer coming in again. And then instead of getting caught up in it and living in it for months after months, they can catch it, see it, and then you can start to help them create tools to separate themselves from that, love that part of themselves, just like it's a little kid that, that they're carrying around and they gotta, love that part and, give that self-love and self-compassion and all that, but help them not get caught up in it and live in it. And then help them start to create more of who they truly are. That is going to start to help people think so much differently. Those three questions, and then helping them have a very clear kind of that lower self, the conditioned bullshit that they picked up, and the higher self of who they truly are. That's going to make them more conscious and help them think so much differently. And if you do that with your personally sponsored coaches, that's going to be amazing. If you do that with their coaches and then their coaches, that's when you're really going to start to see some cool things. And you're going to start to see them take those same questions and take those same changes in their thinking. And you're going to see them start to teach that to their teams. And you're going to create somebody who isn't just a leader at being consistent. You're going to create a leader who's great at teaching other people how to think bigger and think differently. And if you can help somebody else get to the point where they're thinking differently and they're able to teach other people how to think differently, you've created a leader. And when you create leaders, that's the name of the game in this business. That's the most fun part of this business. So hope that was helpful. Those are the three questions I always ask on those 20-minute calls. And then that higher self, lower self, super helpful. And someone I've been working with, just listening to his podcasts, his audios, his meditations that I think you guys would really love, that's great at this kind of stuff, is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's got some great meditations on YouTube and some great chats. But I'm really excited to see what you guys do this next week. I think you guys got like 1 week left before you hit officially the 6 weeks of 15-star diamond. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to see what the quarterly bonus is. And that's going to be something that's going to inspire me to think differently about this business and about 15 stars. So you guys are doing the same thing for me. You guys are helping me start to think differently and give me more energy and more energy towards my why. So I'm excited that you guys are giving back to me, and I'm grateful to be able to give back to you guys as well. So, all right, I hope this was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, I'll try to hop back in here and answer them. But I'm excited to see you guys start to step into that leadership role and also start to create leaders of your own. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.